state of emergency in New Zealand. Storms cause more damage on the Downs and a vessel aground in the bay. This is National 9 News.
Good evening, Don Seccombe Paul Griffin in Brisbane. It's been a day of destructive storms in southeastern Queensland. Hailstones on the granite belt around Stanthorpe caused damage already estimated at millions of dollars. And in Brisbane this afternoon, a series of heavy storms, which swept across the city, caused flash flooding in many low-lying areas.
The Brisbane City Council has spent more than $9.4 million in the past 2 years on flood mitigation and associated works. And according to the council's budget, they're expected to spend $8 million during the current financial year. Surprisingly, some of today's worst flooding occurred close to some of the council's major flood alleviation projects. The area at the intersection of Wickham and Ann Streets at the northern end of Fortitude Valley is less than a kilometre from Breakfast Creek. The council spent 3 years reorganising Breakfast Creek, finishing the task 2 years ago. There were also problems at the bottom of McLaughlin Street in the valley. One driver said he was easing his way through water up to the hubcaps and it quickly rose to door handle level. Scores of police and tow truck operators were on the scene almost as fast as the rain fell, directing traffic and assisting drivers to higher ground. The nearby Coca-Cola bottling factory was inundated, as were a dozen or so other premises. However, the flooding wasn't just confined to the inner city. In Ardendalen Road in Nogra, a partly blocked stormwater drain was unable to cope with the sudden flood and sent water swirling through shops. Worst damage was in Barry's supermarket, where collapsed displays left staff with hours of cleaning up ahead of them. Nearby in Audrey Street, residents in 7 homes were going through what they said was a familiar ritual, mopping up the rubbish deposited by nearly a metre of floodwater which swept through garages and basements. In Blackwood Road, Mitchelton, water more than a metre deep flooded a car park behind the Mitchelton shopping centre, partly submerging more than a dozen cars and leaving a muddy carpet in the ground floor of 2 nearby homes. The storm has also brought power problems. SeaQueb advise there are still about 18,000 consumers without power in suburbs on both sides of the river. Repair crews are out and about, and all consumers are expected to be back online by 10 o'clock tonight.
There were more storms on the Darling Downs today, but they weren't as severe as last night's. Communities in the Felton East Umbiram area and between Oakey and Dalby were battered by hailstones up to the size of cricket balls in places. The Queensland Grain Growers Association has been unable to put a figure on the extent of damage, but it'll run into many thousands of dollars. Vast areas of early planted summer crops such as sunflower and sorghum were flattened. Farmhouses sustained roof and window damage, sheds were demolished, and this caravan at Felton East was destroyed. The heavy rain accompanying the storms caused serious erosion to cultivated land. The storms were described by some as the worst in 60 years. John Ross, National 9 News.
New Zealand police have evacuated residents of 5 Auckland streets after a massive landslip. The slip destroyed one house and left 2 others teetering on the edge of a 17-metre mud cliff.
The landslide moved down the hillside, damaging one flat and a block. Its occupant, Del King, was outside and saw it coming.
Well, I saw the trees and the dirt moving. And I ran around, and that's when I saw the whole thing moving towards the flats. It was really frightening.
Fearing a further landslide, the emergency services began a mass evacuation. Even the budgies from one home were taken to safety. Streets in the vicinity of Rona Road were evacuated, along with one in the path of the slip. The police are still trying to determine how many people they've evacuated to a nearby school. Engineers are now examining the area.
The official death toll from the crash of the Yugoslav airliner on the island of Corsica has been put at 180. Investigators are now trying to pinpoint the exact cause of the tragedy with information they hope to find from the plane's flight recorder.
The all-important black box flight recorder was found among the battered wreckage of the jet. It's been handed over to the judge in charge of the investigation into the crash. The recorder is expected to tell of the last moments of the doomed airliner, a DC-9 Super, which slammed into the fog-shrouded mountainside as it approached Ajaccio Airport.